Welcome back to The Reset. I am Sean Tucker, human performance scientist and authority architect. We are here in the living lab documenting the science, the struggle, and the shift for every high performance dad and founder who is ready to bridge the gap between their ambition and their presence. You can't teach your kids to calm down. They catch it from you. Co-regulation, that thermostat, that actually helps you regulate your kid's nervous system. That's the thing we're going to talk about today. And if you find it helpful, please give us a rating. Go to Apple Podcasts, go to Spotify. The links are in the show notes, and you'll be able to rate us. So this episode is actually found by the man who needs it right now. That aside, let's get into it. There is this beautiful phenomena, and you've probably witnessed it, you've probably experienced it, and that's why it's so relevant. When your kids are upset, when they are pushing your patience, when they truly are frustrated, angry, tired, and having a little bit of a meltdown, what's the worst thing you can get someone to do when they're in that state? You can't prod them and tell them to stop, right? You can't carry them, grab them. I mean, you can force them to do things, but it's not helpful. It doesn't make it any better for them. It actually tends to exaggerate and make things a lot worse. So what you're going to learn in this episode is really, really practical things you can use as tools to help your kids calm down when they're losing control, when they've lost control already. They're not listening, or they're really demanding something. The worst thing you can do is really force them into a place they don't want to be. And maybe same thing for you, right? You can probably reflect back to a time where you weren't getting what you wanted, and you were frustrated, you were angry. And the more people say you can't have it, the worse it becomes. So, yeah, the very first thing you can do is just notice what your kid is actually, what state they're in. Obviously, they're reactive. They are reactive. Their nervous system is spent. It's on its edge. What they need right now is safety. And they're not going to get it from themselves. They're not going to be able to create their own level of safety in their nervous system to settle themselves down. So what you can do, really simply, is first start by noticing what's actually disrupting, or what's creating the behavior, first and foremost. You can't directly change or control the behavior. But what you can do is you can regulate yourself, locate yourself, which will help locate them. So you've got to become present. Understand what is happening for them right now. Are they extremely tired? Can you relate to them right now? Can you find it within yourself where that part of you is extremely tired? And can you sit with it and just notice what happens in them? Because when you become aware, they also become aware. Notice the breathing pattern. They're most likely breathing from their mouth, from their chest. And co-regulation stipulates that if you're able to control your breathing, you're actually facilitating more safety in their nervous system. So the more you're able to regulate yourself, the more it has a domino effect or ripple effect on their nervous system. And this is the same not just for your kids, but any kind of interaction with anyone. Not just people, plants, also other animals, pets. So the more calm you can get your nervous system to be, the more calm it has an on-flow effect to the people around you and the animals, basically any form of life. So that is the second step, is really slowing your breathing pattern down. The third thing you can do, this is a bit counterintuitive, but you can almost mirror their behavior, but do it in a playful way. Don't do it in an aggravating way. Do it in a playful way. If they are really, they've lost it completely, this is not going to work. But if they're really stubborn, if they're really not wanting to follow the instruction or whatever it is that keeps them safe, or if you need to leave the shop and they're so fixated on the snack or the toy or whatever it is, like maybe you can mimic. And let's just say you go and find something bigger and better and say, I want this, right? And you just mimic their behavior. Not to provoke, not to prod, just to help them get out of their state. So you shift the state. And basically what that does is it enables them to take a backseat of their state. So it allows them to shift their state as well. Because if the parent is acting ridiculous now, it actually stops them in that moment and gives them a chance to shift, to change at an unconscious level, because the attention is then being drawn out of them and into you. So that's a really powerful way, but use it with caution. Use it with caution. The fourth thing I would do is see if you can actually create a little bit more safety in the sensations. So if they don't want to be touched, don't touch them, right? But what other way can you incorporate the five senses to allow them to distract? So it's basically a pattern interrupt. So if you're able to interrupt the pattern of what normally happens, so when they're throwing a tantrum, when they're really upset, it just gets exaggerated to the point where it just explodes. We don't want to encourage, we don't want to make that happen more, because it's just going to leave an imprint on their nervous system to say that if I act this way, either I get what I want, or it's just going to be left as an imprint as to, well, this was mismanaged. And if I get to that point, well, it's just going to leave, like I'm not going to be able to get what I want. And that we don't want to do that either. But what we want to do is look at the physiological state of safety. Does this kid actually feel safe? Are they actually having their needs being taken care of right now? If the answer is no, then we need to incorporate the five senses. So, son, little Missy, daughter, whatever. Can you smell that? Like, deliver it differently. Because when you're using your voice, the tone, the ability to stay silent for a second, like, play with it a little bit. I know it's hard in these moments where it's really stressful and really intense, but the more conscious you can be in that process, the more able you'll be to pull them out of that really distressed state. So if they don't want to be touched, use your voice. If they want to, if they don't want to listen, maybe use the vision a little bit, right? So look out at the horizon or look at something and be like, wow, look over there. And this obviously depends on what state they're really in. Because if nothing's going to work, this is not going to work. Yeah. And sometimes, even though they don't want to be touched, sometimes they want to be held. Right? Because that initial touch sensation causes a bit of more of a reaction. But the more you can sort of just soften the touch, not grab them and grip them really hard, not like you're trying to force them to do something, but more like, I hear you, I see you, I'm here with you. If you can let them know at that unconscious level, we're here no matter what happens, no matter what happens. If you're able to pass through without any judgment on your child, because they're looking for more reaction. If you're able to not have any judgment and not any reaction to their reaction, you're going to win. It's not about win or lose, but it's about winning the ability to have them feel safe. The more quickly you can do that, the more quickly they'll settle. And it's, once again, it's not about controlling them. It's actually about regulating yourself first. Because if their nervous system is already reacting to the environment that they're in, it's only going to disrupt yours. So pay attention to what's going on in the environment. Notice what you can do to regulate yourself using your breath, using your 5 senses, using your ability to communicate and point at things and be genuinely interested, genuinely curious. Because where attention goes, energy flows. And this is such a great way to understand how you can disrupt or pretty much finish that pattern that is quite distressing for the child. You can break the state that they are in. So, if you found this episode helpful, please go into the show notes and give the show a rating. If you want to stop being the passenger of your own life and start being the architect of your legacy, make sure you scroll into the show notes as well. At the very bottom, before the chapters, there'll be a point where you can click on the 7-day reset. The 7-day nervous system reset is a way you can rewire and rebuild the man from within. Remember that most people wait for their life to change. We are the ones who architect our choices. Change your state, choose how you show up. I am Sean Tucker. I will see you in the next one.